U.S. approves aid to Israel for the Gaza war and attacks from Israel's northern front continue, the IDF has remained steadfast in its intent to continue the job in Gaza, potentially launching an operation in Rafah. Here with us to discuss the impact of U.S. aid and the situation in Rafah is Brigadier General in the Reserves, Amir Avivi. Amir, thank you so much for joining us now. I wanted to ask you, what is the current situation in Rafah? I mean, we saw that there have been some strikes. Is there going to be a full-scale operation?
Yes, there is going to be a full-scale operation in Rafah. The forces are preparing. The cabinet approved the plans. The Israeli Defense Forces are preparing for the ground incursion. And it's not going to look like anything we saw before. This is the last stronghold of Hamas. This is the place where Hamas will be defeated. So I think there is going to be fierce fighting, and it will have to be a very, very decisive move. And also at the same time, the IDF is deepening its control in the northern part of Gaza. We saw several shootings from Bet Lahia and Bet Hanun. And this requires further pinpointed operations to find these terrorists who are still moving around.
Now, in the event of this operation, which you have stated you do believe will happen, what impact will it have? You mentioned it will be the defeat of Hamas, but will this be enough to truly oust Hamas from power? And what about the larger threat, whether from Hezbollah or the Islamic Republic?
So basically, the most basic condition to be able to achieve the goals of war, meaning destroying Hamas as a governmental and military entity, reaching the hostages, and preventing the buildup of a terror army in Gaza, all this depends on Rafah. The leadership of Hamas is there. Most of the hostages were taken to Rafah, and this requires this operation. After Rafah, the army will concentrate on the northern part of, on the northern border, with Hezbollah. We'll see the army concentrating its forces in the north and preparing for a ground incursion with Hezbollah, unless Hezbollah retreats according to Resolution 1701.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the U.S. aid package. What impact will this $17 billion have on the war, if any? I mean, we're talking billions for Iron Dome replenishment, missile defense replenishment, but also the U.S. approved $3.5 billion for advanced weapons systems specifically. What does this actually mean, and what is its impact on the war?
Well, this is going to have a huge impact because we have to sustain a very, very long war in Gaza, in the north, prepare also for a possible war with Iran. So the continuous flow of weapons is crucial for the ability of Israel to sustain this very long war, which might take more than a year. I mean, it's quite probable that the hardest part is still ahead of us. And this is Hezbollah and Iran, not Hamas.
Absolutely. Now, what is the U.S. expecting in return for this aid package? And do you believe that Israel's prepared to comply with that following the events such as, sanctions on a specific unit of the IDF and some of the hostile comments that have been made by the U.S. administration?
Well, I think it's a terrible thing. I think that basically sanctioning Israeli battalion is saying to the state of Israel, we don't trust you, we don't trust your judicial system, we don't trust the commanders in the army to be able to carry out the orders, and this is bad. And I think it's a huge mistake if it's going to happen. I can say that the unit, Haredi unit, is a very good unit, serious soldiers. They do the best they can, and if there is anything out of the ordinary, the army knows how to deal with this. And it doesn't necessarily apply just to this battalion, to any battalion.
Well, let's hope that the United States is not providing this aid with strings attached, since, as we both know, it's in the interest of both countries to get rid of these terrorist organizations. I want to thank you so much for your time, Brigadier General Amir Avivi.
Thank you very much.